Good morning, Raven families. My name is Erica Jones, and I am one of the advisory teachers here in the Anchorage office. I am just making and sending out a third quarter progress report reminder how-to video for your viewing pleasure. And just a friendly reminder that third quarter progress reports are due by March 15th. If you need any help or have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your advisory teacher. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to log into your Brightways. If you don't remember your password or your username, reach out to your local office and we can assist you with that. I'm going to show you how to do this using just a testing family. So what you'll do is when you click on your student's name, your family dashboard, you'll click on your student, and then you will be able to see the last progress report that you submitted. For most families, this will say quarter two progress report approved. If your quarter one or quarter two progress reports are not done yet, just a friendly reminder that those grades will become Fs in June. So we need your grade, your work sample, and your summary as soon as you can for quarter one and quarter two. I know that some of my families started late, had a family emergency, ended up with COVID, different situations that put some families a little bit behind, which is totally fine as long as you finish 100% of your curriculum by June. That's the goal. All right, so to access your progress reports, you'll click here. Yours probably says quarter two. If you already started your quarter three, then this will say quarter three progress report building. You'll click here. And then if you click up here where it says progress reports 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, or 4 out of 4, you'll click here. And this is where you'll be able to see all 4 quarters for your particular student that you're working on. And this will also tell you if it's missing, approved, if it's building, if you submitted it, but your teacher hasn't approved it yet. That's what submitted means. And quarter three due March 15th. So you'll click here. If you have not started, yours will not say edit. Yours will say enter, I believe. And that's where you'll go. So I'm going to click edit for quarter three. And then just a friendly reminder, we have to have the grade, and this is the overall grade for the quarter. Some of our families do a combination of work, like classwork, bookwork, projects, and tests. Some of my families only grade the tests because they do the work with their student. So whatever grading method you have decided on for this year, that is the grade that you'll put in. So make sure you have a grade for each subject. And then over here, you have to type up a summary. And in your summary, we need to know the time spent for the quarter. Some of my families break it up by week. Some of my families keep a log and they do it for the entire quarter. Some of my families keep track monthly, whatever works for you. And then, so for example, this one says, during quarter three, Fiona completed lessons 16 out of 30 of 60. So for quarter three, really, if there were 60 lessons, your goal would be 75% of that, right? So your goal would be 45 lessons out of 60. And if you're a little bit behind or a little bit ahead, that's totally fine as long as 100% of your curriculum is done by June. All right. So then this family also said she also read for 20 minutes a night on average. Fiona practiced editing, completed 3 units of poetry, and read 3 chapter books. You could also list the different books that your students read this quarter. That would be wonderful. And then it also tells us how long she typically worked. So it says Fiona typically worked on language arts 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And this student, Testerson, is in 5th grade. So that would be perfect for a summary. If your student worked on plot or story elements or literary devices or whatever the specific skills your student worked on for that quarter, definitely put that in there. And then make sure you let your advisory teacher know in the progress summary how often your student worked and how many lessons they completed. If your student is using just Acellus, your advisory teacher does have access to that. I know that I put those in for my families. Some teachers might ask their families to do that for themselves. Just be in touch with your advisory teacher to see what your advisory teacher wants you to do with your Acellus stuff. All right. And then for math, I said in quarter 3, Fiona completed lessons 50 out of 75 in her Saxon math book. She scored an average of 89% on her chapter tests, and her overall grade with classwork was an 86% for the quarter. She worked on multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed numbers, dividing numbers up to the thousands with remainders, basic variable solving in equations, and worked on her multiplication facts to 12s. Fiona worked on math-related tasks for 30 to 40 minutes 4 times a week. So this is also where you would add if your student did any cooking or any type of computer STEM coding that used math. Some of my families have a home ec class where they're gardening and they're planting and they're measuring and they're building planters and taking care of chickens and reading thermometers. Anything math related you can put in your math summary. So it doesn't just have to be the math workbook, the math curriculum. Any type of math related facts or practice would work. And then same thing for PE. For PE, Fiona exercised daily. She worked out for 30 to 40 minutes at a time. She also played hockey 2 days a week for an hour with 1 hour of games on Saturday. Fiona completed approximately 45 hours of physical activity this quarter. So any type of exercise, playing at the park, walking the dog, hockey, sports, yoga, jumping on the trampoline, any type of physical activity. If your student is in high school, it is a state requirement that they turn in a detailed dated log that shows at least 33 hours for the quarter to earn their quarter credit. Of course, they can do more. And if your student completed, let's say, 25 out of the 33, turn that in. And then as soon as they make up the hours in the next quarter, let your advisory teacher know. And we do have to have a copy of that signed log by both the parent and the student. And then you would do the same thing for science. So whatever science curriculum you're using, if they did any science projects or gardening or scientific field trips, or if they read any scientific books. I know that a lot of our families use Bookshark, and where that is science and social studies related texts incorporated into language arts. So that would be perfect to put in there. Like I said, field trips, any science related experiences, any science videos. If your student went to coding class with Miss Terry, or robotics or STEM with Miss Terry, those would all count as science as well. And then down here, you could type in the parent comments, anything else you want us to know about your student's third quarter experience, any struggles, any successes, any strengths, weaknesses, anything specific that you would like to let us know. And then where it says teacher comments, for my families, if I'm helping them with their Acellus grades, this is where I will put their progress, like when I last updated their progress report. So that's what I do there. And then down here, you'll click Update Progress Report. And then if you scroll all the way down, this is where you'll be able to upload your work samples. And just as a friendly refresher, to upload a work sample, and unfortunately, you do have to do one at a time, you're going to click Upload. You're going to click Choose File. If you're working in PE or you're working in science or math, that's where you'll change the subject. You'll click choose file, and then this is where you'll be able to, this is just a sample for my upcoming poetry workshop, but this is where you would upload, and that is not math, obviously, that would be language arts, but just as a sample, you would click upload. And then if you scroll back down, you should be able to see it. Now, if this is not something you wanted to put as your work sample, because this is not a real work sample, this was just an example, you would click it, and then up here at the top, it says back, open, download, edit, or delete. You could click delete. This is also where if you accidentally put, let's say, a math work sample in language arts, this is where if you click edit, you can change the subject without it actually totally deleting and having to upload it again. So if I accidentally put this idiom piece of paper or photo in, let's say, PE, and I needed to put it in language arts, if you click edit, that's where you can do that. Awesome. And then back. So before you hit submit, scroll down, double check that you have your summary, your work sample for each of your subjects. So if this was real, this would be incomplete because I don't have a science grade work sample or summary. So make sure you get those in before you hit submit. And then as soon as you hit submit, do let your advisory teacher know so that we can check out your progress report, make suggestions, ask questions. I know that if one of my families submits a progress report summary and it doesn't have the number of lessons, I'll send them a quick email or phone call or text and say, hey, how many lessons did so-and-so complete this quarter? And then I can add it for my families. And yeah, just double check it before you hit submit. And that's all for quarter 3. The deadline is March 15th. And if you are having trouble, need help, need an extension of time for whatever reason, just be in touch with your advisory teacher. Alrighty. Thanks and good luck on your progress reports. All right, those are coming up. All right. Thanks again.